Morning guys, Ben back again with another video. This time this is going to be about my ignition key set and the stripped wires that you usually find underneath it. So the thing is, if you guys have trouble with your ignition, you will have something like this come up. You move your handlebars, you will lose power, and when the handlebar comes to the center, things will start to light up. So I really cannot replicate it, is because mine is in good order, mine is working and there's absolutely no problems with it. But otherwise, if you guys have stripped wires, or if your wires have just starting to strip and they're making contact and losing contact, what will happen is, while you keep it in the center position, while the handlebar is in the center position, things will light up. But the moment you start tilting your handlebars to extreme ends, gone, you will have the power go off. So that would be a clear indicator of stripped wires underneath this key set. Okay, so these are the tools that you require for the process, for the whole job. You have a T-handle here to pull out the plastic part. There's about 2 screws on both the sides, both 4 mm I believe. And then this is to pull out the ignition key set, but I believe it has screws which is about 5 mm. So that's a 4 mm and a 5 mm to pull out both the plastic and the ignition key set, pull it out and then get it out of the connector. Of course, when you put things back together, you will need a bit of a Loctite. And then what I have with me is the soldering iron, the soldering paste or the flux, and then I have lead, different types of lead for different end uses, and then I have a small prying tool. This is more like to get the connectors out of the that is the cringe terminals out of the connectors, and then go ahead and do a tidier job, or for things like that. This is just to pull the terminals out of the connectors. Then what I have is some heat shrink tape, different width or different gauge. I have an insulation sleeve, more like the final thing that goes on top of the whole wire, just so that it protects the wire from the elements. Then I have electrical tape if necessary, just adding it like a backup if you think it is necessary. And then to shrink the heat shrink tape, you have to have a heat gun. And then finally, when to put things back together, you need some zip ties, different gauge, and to handle the whole of the job, you need pliers, a set of nose plier, angle nose plier, regular plier, and then the multi-purpose tool from Stanley that I have. So that's the whole of it, guys. These are the tools that you need for the job. I might have missed out on 1 or 2 or 3 tools, but then that's okay. You will definitely have those. But these are the essential tools that you need for the job. The link is going to be available in the description. Kindly look at my descriptions, please, guys, because I take a lot of trouble trying to pull out the parts that I use, pull out the links from online websites, and then I take the trouble of pasting it in the description. Kindly go check out my description. It will run you through the brief of the whole exercise, and also will have the links mentioned to all these products, and just one click of a button, they'll arrive at your doorstep and you can do the job yourself. Okay, so this is the part that I pulled out, and it's a simple job. Get rid of the plastic here, 2 bolts here and here. Remove these 2. Look for this bolt here, 2, one on this side and one on the other side. You open them up and your ignition key set will come out without any issues. Of course, you will have to pull the connector out of this. This is where the connector rests. It's inside this boot, rubber boot, and that's how the wire runs. So this time, this is about me just doing some maintenance checks on the motorcycle. A lot of areas where I had worked on about a year ago, I'm just kind of pulling them apart and just going in and checking and double checking. I mean, there's a lot of work that I had done previously to the motorcycle here and there where things went wrong, and this is one such part, which is the key set. And 90% of the times when you guys have issues with your ignition, that is when you turn your key and there's absolutely nothing coming up on the instrument console, then the problem lies with a stripped wire in there. Two solders, two wires, either of them would have stripped or both of them would have stripped, or the solder might have come loose. So it's either a problem there or a problem here, is because the wire kind of takes a bad U-turn somewhere around here, and that is the stock wiring, not the one that you see here. This has been kind of reworked a bit. I have used thinner gauge wires that I pull out of the console. I have soldered them to the two ends on the console, and that is the key set. There's a small plate there with two solders and wires come out. I am no technical guy, so I might not know the name of these things, but then again, I just go ahead and fix things to the best of my knowledge. And I distinctly remember the last time when I did this job, it was about a year ago. I kind of pulled the wires apart, and I soldered these ends and I taped them with electrical tape, and I made a video of the same. And then there were guys who had problems with it. They said that, you know, that's not going to be a secure and fast joint, and that's ridiculous of me to go ahead and use electrical tape. They all wanted me to use the heat shrink, which I have here, truckloads of them, that I used to use regularly. But then again, I've also used electrical wire all my life, and I know the difference, and the difference is just about that much. Honestly speaking, guys, if you do a good job with electrical tape, 1 year later, this is how it looks. Absolutely nothing. I had just put in some solder there. I mean, it's a shabby soldering job as well. But then that being said, because of the difference in gauge of the wires, I couldn't really do a good job of soldering them too. But then that being said, just electrical tape on the two wires, and then a sleeve, a plastic sleeve like this, electrical wiring sleeve. You get this in almost all automobile spare parts outlets, and so just that much. And it's been a year, and I just want to be doubly sure if my wiring is good enough, and then I'm not going to have any trouble when I do my long trip, which is just right around the corner. So me going ahead and pulling things apart and checking for the condition of the joints, and I'm telling you that I'm kind of relieved that, you know, I don't have to prove anything to anyone, because electrical wires, they do a good job. Electrical tapes, they do a good job. You don't really have to have heat shrink tapes if you know how to do a good job. Again, people in electrical shops, that is the fellows who fix these wiring in India, they do a really shabby job. They do a quick job. They just go about doing things in a jiffy, and then they tape it and they give it to you. They don't really care if you are going to have a short circuit tomorrow later on in the trip, or if the wires are going to strip again. Those guys don't care. But then if you were to do it all on yourself, by yourself, then this is a decent job that you can do. And now, because I have soldered it really well to the housing, I'm not going to be doing two wires to the connector. Rather, I'm going to be splicing it here, and I'm going to be doing this fella again. And just so that, you know, I show you guys the difference between electrical tape job and heat shrink sleeve job. Wires with the crimp, whatever connectors, and yep, that's going to be it, along with some heat shrink tape. So that's the whole of it. That's about it for today. Nothing more. And so that is the completed one. Wires coming out, zip tied to that small hole there. It's more like an anchor point, and then running to the connector with an outer sleeve, a plastic sleeve like this. So that's the whole of it. A job done and dusted. We're gonna be putting this back on the motorcycle, and we'll have our ignition back. That's me having plugged in the connector and zip tied this rubber boot which houses the connector for this, and there are two other connectors also. I don't really remember which ones in particular, but then again, that's how it is. So all zip tied well, and you guys can see I can move the handlebar freely without having to worry about the wires. So that's the whole job. Take this fella and shove it in like that. It's a bit of a tight squeeze, so you'll have to wiggle it around to kind of, that's about it. There's a bit of a struggle to shove this fellow in, but then again, it's all right, not too much of a deal. How I went about doing it is I kept the handlebar at this angle, shoved it 3/4 in until the end of this plastic piece touched my fork legs, and then I moved my handlebar like that to the center position, thereby pulling the plastic piece along with it, or just a little bit of aiding will do the job for you. 2 screws and that gets the job done. Using a T-handle makes the job a whole lot simpler, but otherwise also you can do this with the Allen keys provided in your toolkit. It's just that it's going to be taking a long time for you to wind this in completely. Fixed my ignition key set, that is the wires that come out of the ignition key, and this is not something which is a maintenance procedure. This is more of troubleshooting and fixing the problems.